Oh, wow. The energy in this room this entire day has just been electric. Give me a raise of one of your hands if you feel that Geshidocon 2025 has been incredible, to say the least. Look at all these hands, guys. Okay, raise your hand if you're going, okay, let's wait for day 2. See what day 2 has got for us. Okay, raise your hand if you're one of those people that never raises their hands for anything. Let's just see who you are, so I know as I start. Fabulous. So I think we can all agree that there has been magic that has happened here today, and it's an honor to be able to close off the discussion and hopefully end it off on a high note. So here's where I want us to start the discussion today as we have this conversation. 3 key things. I always ask for 3 key things when I start a conversation ever, always. And I know we just met. You don't even know if you can trust me, but I promise you, you can. So 3 things I'm going to ask for as we start. 1, I'm going to just ask that you be aware of the assumptions that your brain is making consistently. The funny thing about the human brain is that when you and I don't understand anything, we have a gap in information, a gap in insight, a gap in understanding, we fill that gap with assumptions and presuppositions that are based on our previous experiences. What has worked in the past, what will never work in our market, what we will never sign off on, and all of those types of things. So 1, just be aware that consistently, when you meet someone, when you see anything, when you engage with a brand new speaker that you've never met before, your brain is making an assumption. I'll prove it to you. I stepped onto the stage, and maybe you saw my picture right at the beginning when I was introduced. And once again, your brain went, wow, this is what they're giving us at the end of the day? Where's the rest of her? Or whatever it is your brain said. So I'd like you to turn to the person next to you, the one you like the least. And I'm joking. Some of you already turned. Guys, what is this? So here's what you're going to do for me. You're going to turn to one of the people next to you, any one of them, and you're just going to share 2 seconds. What is the assumption that your brain made when I stepped onto stage and started speaking? I'll stand nice and far back so I don't hear, because I do have feelings. Okay, 2 seconds. Make it quick. What assumption did your brain make? All right. Come back to me. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, so some of you were laughing. And I must say, I probably don't look very intimidating just standing here, but I promise I can do a lot of damage with these arms. So to those of you that were laughing, I know who you are. I will find you after the conference. But that's the point, guys. That's the first thing. I just want you to be the kind of person who can think about what you're thinking about. Because most of us just stop at thinking, and that's the biggest problem. So 1, be aware of the assumptions that you're making as you see things on the screen, as you hear my voice, and my voice starts to sound a little bit more soothing than it would naturally be, because you've just eaten, it's a little bit cozy in here as well. 1, be aware of your assumptions. 2, just challenge them. When you know that there's an assumption at play, just be the kind of person that pushes back. That's the 2nd thing. And then the very last one of the 3, let's have fun. I'm one of those people that gets to have the fun conversation at the conference. So none of the intensive, deep stuff that we've spoken about today. We're going to end off with a fun conversation around unlearning and relearning. Quick look around the room. Just find the person that you know is not all about the fun. Give them a quick look that just says, hey, jump on board now. This is when the fun happens. Not, guys, I said quick. What is this? Quick, like brisk. Is this on? There we go. Thanks, guys. All right, so let's get started. If you can promise to give me those 3 key things, I would like to guarantee you that the rest of this conversation is going to be well worth your time. If you just give me your focus and your attention. And here's where we're going to start it off. Because at the end of the day, one of the key things we focus on at the UnLearners is being the people you call when the change management program doesn't work. Because at the end of the day, your best change management strategy is not a framework. It's your people's capacity to unlearn and relearn. Because you can bring all of the consultants you want, spoken as a consultant, but it's just going to fall flat. And this is one of my favorite stories around this. And if you've heard this, if you've heard me deliver this presentation before, just smile and wave. Pretend it's your first time. I did see a few familiar faces already today. So here's how the story goes. There was a little girl who every single time her mother prepared a turkey, she noticed that mom would always cut the first quarter of the turkey off before she put it in the oven. Every single time this would happen, until the little girl one day got a chance to ask Mom, why is it? Why is it that every single time you prepare a turkey, you cut the first quarter off and then you put it in the oven? And the mom, you know how we are as parents, yes, an opportunity to pass down my wisdom. So she turned to her daughter and she said, well, sweetheart, this is a family tradition. My mom used to do it, so grandma used to do it. And then her mother used to do it, so great-grandma used to do it. And then one day, sweetheart, I think you guys know this story. One day, you're going to get to do it. And so the little girl was quite proud. Yay, a family tradition. Until she got to visit great-grandmother. She went to great-grandmother. Great-grandmother, Mom says we have this amazing family tradition where we cut the first piece of the turkey off before we put it in the oven. Tell me a little bit more about that. Did your mom also do that? Where's this coming from? Great-grandmother took a second, turned to the little girl and said, well, sweetheart, when your grandmother was growing up, I had a very small oven. And so the turkey wouldn't fit in my oven, so what I had to do is I had to cut a piece off and then put it in there. And then she ended the conversation off with saying, sweetheart, I don't know why your mother does it, but that's why I used to do it. And the funny thing is that conditioning and socialization is so tricky that we get to a point where we don't know where the socialization ends and we begin. Because we've started to tell ourselves, this is the way we do things here. This is who we are. Raise your hand if you've ever used that beautiful phrase. This is the way we do things here. This is who we are. And so that becomes a very big part of you and I thinking about how we can challenge that and how we can show up differently. So here's my question for you as we start this conversation officially. I'd like you to imagine the following scenario. It's 5 years from today. So it's 2030. And the business has lost half of its current market share, whatever organization you're currently working with. And it just doesn't seem to be getting better. No matter what you try, it's just not working. So here's my question for you. What is it that you didn't challenge? What questions did you not ask? What conditioning did you not push back at that has led you to that moment? Because one of the things that I found to be quite profound, and the lady that you see on the screen goes by the name of Senator Crystal Asige, and she is a senator, a member of parliament in Kenya. And if you look at her eyes, you'll be able to see that she's completely blind. And she shared the following phrase, not hers, not her own, but when she said it, it really struck me, that if what you see is all you can see, then you cannot see all there is to be seen. And literally at the end of the day, what we found at the UnLearners is that if we can just become the kind of people that can see outside of our natural conditioning based on what's worked in the past, then come what may. And I promise I'm only going to say the word AI once, and that was it. I'm not going to say it again. But at the end of the day, that's all we need. That's true agility as we think about it. So what are some of the things that we know according to what we've done? One, here's what we know. Sadly, you and I, we're a lot less innovative than we think. Research at Stanford University says that the average person is thinking 60,000 thoughts every single day, day in, day out. I don't know about you, but I think I'm thinking about 3 thoughts, maybe food, sleep, sometimes work on a good day, but 3, max. 60,000 is very high. Here's what I'd like you to take a guess. What percentage of those thoughts do you think the research found were repetitive? Whoopsie. So that means the same thing you thought yesterday, and the day before that, and the day before that, and the day before that, before I run out of space and fall off the stage. Give me a percentage, out loud. I like noise. I used to be a primary school teacher. 90%. Anyone more conservative? Someone who actually trusts humanity and has faith in us. 20%. I'm sorry to disappoint you, but actually what the research found is that it was in fact 90%. 90% of what we are thinking on a daily basis are our repetitive, conditional thoughts. I often say this not to be funny, but at the end of the day, what ends up happening is we think we're living 60 beautiful years, but all we're doing, 20 years, 3 times over. Just being us the way we know it works. So that's the first thing we know, is that we're not as innovative, as creative, or as fresh as we think we are because we've been trained. And that's okay. It's normal. It's how the brain actually creates defaults and shortcuts. Second thing that we know is this. We don't do well with uncertainty. During the panel discussion, the word uncertainty did come up a few times. And we know this for sure. And here's how we know. There was a fascinating study that was done that wanted to find out the relationship between uncertainty and stress or anxiety. So they had 2 groups come into the study. And each of the groups were hooked up to an fMRI, functional magnetic resonance imaging scan, so they could see what was going on in their brains. And what they also did at the exact same time is that they had the groups get a tiny little, and I promise this wasn't enough to kill them, but a tiny little electric shock. Group number 1 was told, hey guys, there's a 50% chance you could get a shock, but there's also a 50% chance that you won't get a shock. Good, right? Good odds. But then group 2 was told, listen, you're going to get a shock. It's happening. Which of the 2 groups, by a show of fingers, 1 or 2, do you think, when they looked at their brain activity, was the most anxious of the 2? 1 or 2? Let's see those fingers, if you have access to them, of course. 1, I'm seeing a lot of 1s, okay? I see some 2s as well. Interesting. So here's what the research found. Group number 1, why? It's not so much the bad thing. It's not so much the bad occurrence, but it's just the uncertainty. At least, let me just know that it's coming. And one of the phrases we throw around in the change management community is, if you can't give certainty, at least give clarity. Because clarity serves to give that psychological safety that people don't have in this climate. So that's the second thing we know. We know that we don't do too well with uncertainty. Last thing that we know of the 3 is this. It takes serious courage. Because you are about to walk out of a conference after tomorrow and work with people who were not at this conference. And when you go, come on guys, let's shake it up, they're going to look at you and shake you up. And then you're going to turn around and go, never mind. If you don't believe me, there's a series of studies that was done in the 1970s, and they were titled the Asch Paradigm Conformity Tests. And Solomon Asch, or Dr. Solomon Asch, wanted to find out, what is it about us that makes us cave when it comes to other human beings? Sharing what we know to be right, or sharing the perspectives that we hold in groups that contradict us. And so what he did, and maybe let me test you out really quickly here. If you look at the picture on your screen, the line on the left is the exact same height or length as one of the lines on the right. Which one is it? See, okay, any other perspectives? Raise your hand for A. Maybe blink twice for A, because I see some of you looking around to see, who's that? Who said A? What's wrong with these people at this conference? Blink twice for B. Thank you very much. I love that you raised your hand. Fantastic. So here's the thing. Maybe quickly give yourself a pat on the back if you said C, because you are in fact correct. But did you know that according to the series of tests, you've got a close to 40% chance of not seeing something different, but of saying you see something different if you are the only one who sees it? Close to 40%. And maybe let me not try to prove this myself. Have a look at this video taken from the actual live experiments.
An experiment is not a public opinion poll. It examines behavior under the pressure of social forces.
So I'm going to pause it there just for the interest of time. And I promise that wasn't staged. And often when I watch that video, guys, it's a little bit funny, you know. But then every now and again when I watch it, it actually hits me that that's what's happening to us on a consistent basis. And that's why it takes real courage. The individual that you actually saw further in the video, when he was asked as to why he made that decision or why he said it was 2 when it wasn't, he gives the response, they must be right. There's 3 of them, or 4 of them, I think it is, and 1 of me. So surely they must be right. I'm the one that's got the problem. So those are the 3 things that we know about human beings and true behavior change. So at the end of the day, and someone already mentioned this quite beautifully today, earlier in the day, is that to unlearn is to self-disrupt. In a world that is disrupting us externally, our best asset is our capacity to go internal and go, what is it? What are some of the trainings, the conditionings that I have? And how do I become the kind of person who, and I mean the word self-awareness, we tend not to like to use it, but this is exactly it. How do you have the kind of awareness where you're an unshakable leader and you're able to go, hey, guys, we're missing something. So I'd like to end off my conversation with you by sharing a 2-step process, one of my absolute favorites, to help you become the kind of person that understands what you might be missing in any given situation, but also build the capacity that in any room you step into, you're the one that innovates, you're the one that's creative, and you're the one that's able to call everyone else out if they are not being that way. But maybe just to start us off, I'd like to invite you to stand really quickly. Nobody likes a speaker who makes them stand, but I've already been paid for this, so whether you like me or not, it's okay, I have nothing to lose. All right, so here's what we're going to do. I'd like you to raise your right hand for me, if you have access to it, of course. You laugh, guys, but not everyone has, not everyone has access to their right hand. So what you're going to do for me, with your right hand, is you're going to draw a square in the air. Just a square about 4 times. Don't overthink it. I see those eyes. They tell me you're overthinking this. So just a square about 4 times, and when you're done, you can put your arm down just so I know. Fantastic. Second thing you're going to do is now with your left foot. So on the opposite side, your left foot, just on the carpet, is going to draw a circle, also 4 times. If you do want to turn this into a gym sesh, You can lift the foot. I'm not against that. All right, also about 4 times or 5. And then once you're done, you can stop. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. If you've ever been in a room with me, you know exactly where this is going. Both at the same time. That square with your hand and that circle with your foot. Really focus in here. Give yourself a chance. Don't give up on yourself. The faces. I wish you were standing where I'm standing. This is so good. No? No? Okay, you may sit. Well done. Give yourselves a round of applause. So, feel free to practice that as you go ahead with it, but it's one of those exercises, and you might have done that pat your head, rub your tummy exercise in the past, very similar to that. And what I found doing this in a few rooms is it's the individuals who do a lot of that eye, hand, and foot coordination on a consistent basis, that as soon as they start that, they catch it fairly easily. And it goes right back to training. When you train yourself, then it becomes a new default for the brain. And the sad news that I always share with individuals is the only way to unlearn is to learn. Because at the level of your neurology, your old habits only prune when you build new ones. And those ones then are not used. Sadly, that's literally how it works. So what I'm going to share with you 2 steps that will help you to become what I like to call an unlearner. Step number 1, look. And then step number 2, look again. I'd like to invite you that when I say step 1 to say look, and then when I say step 2 to say look again. Let's try it. Step 1, step 2, step 1, step 2, step 1, step 2, step 2. Almost. Some of you almost got you. All right, so let's jump right into it. So what is step 1 and what is step 2? What's that about, and how do we actually do it? So here's what step 1 is. You'll see just from the way that we started that we've already done this pretty much. But now we're just going to go into it in a little bit more detail. Step 1, you notice. And that's all it is. Because the first time you see something, that's when your conditioning tells you the idea you have around it. Did you know that when you look at anything, it's not actually your eyes that are looking, it's your brain. Because your eye is literally just sending those light signals to get transferred or get converted into electrical energy. And then that's literally your eye nudging your brain to say, hey, what am I looking at? And then right back to your brain saying, hey, we don't like that person. And then you go, sorry, I'm not going to talk to you today. Not because your eyes have seen it, but because your conditioning has told you. And that's why we look. Because when we look, we ask ourselves, what are the assumptions that I'm making about what I'm looking at? Have I already told myself that it's against what business as usual looks like for us? Have I already told myself it's not going to work in the African market? How many times do I need to tell you that? Is that already the conditioning that I'm bringing into the discussion, that I'm bringing into what I'm looking at? And I would so much as to challenge what Thomas Edison says, that there's a way to do it better. Find it. I would say what we should be finding is the way to do it differently. That's what we should be looking to find. Because when we look, we really start to dive into... See how I took the conference name very seriously today? So when we look, we go, what is actually going on here? I often like to say that when we watch the news, there's what you see and then there's what's happening. Most of us will just have a look at what we see. So let me give you a clear example of this. I love how you just did. Okay, so maybe let's take a quiz first. Under, over, how do you roll? Raise your hand for under. Okay, I see quite a few under. All the under people, I see you. And then on the other side, raise your hand for over. Whoa, that is crazy. Okay, fascinating. Thank you very much. Everyone else who didn't raise their hand, I'm not going to ask Why you didn't put your hand up? Because that's your business. So here's what's going on there. If you have ever watched the show on Netflix, and I strongly encourage that you do so, it's called 100 Humans. 100 Humans, this particular study that they did there was adapted from another study that was done at Stanford University that was looking at what is called the false consensus bias. And the false consensus bias says that you and I think that our way of seeing the world, our way of interpreting things, is a lot more common than it actually is. So what they did in this particular study, they had individuals sit down and they asked them, under, over. And then they asked them, why? Most common answer they got as to why? How? Well, of course. I mean, hello, it just makes sense. Don't we use that as a reason why? It just makes sense. That's generally how people do it. But then when you sit in a room like this, like we just have, and you realize that the false consensus bias oftentimes is the reason why we need to look. Because it's you and I raising our awareness as to exactly what is going on. What are we making assumptions about? Assumptions that we go without challenging so often. So that's why we look, not because of toilet paper, because at the end of the day, our opportunities, our growth is on the other side of the assumptions that we are consistently making.
It's easy to put people in. All that we share.
So that's why we look. Because on the other side of just understanding the conditioning and the socialization that we are looking with, that's where the opportunity lies. But our 90% often gets in the way, so that's why we look. And when we look, we ask ourselves this question. What dogmas, assumptions, presuppositions am I making? And I challenge you that the next time you sit in a board meeting, the next time you sit at Exco, hey guys, what are we assuming about this? And maybe even going around the table. And if the space is safe enough, maybe you'll get a few of those assumptions. And one of the things that becomes really important, like you saw in the video, is our openness to hold space for those assumptions. Because remember, they're normal. We're all making them all the time. All right, step 1. Okay, one person. Thank you. That person, you're going to be my traveling audience. I'll take you with me across the country wherever I go. So step 1. Fantastic. Step 2. Step 1. Fantastic. So we've just gone through step 1. We look. And when you look, all you do, what dogmas, what assumptions are at play? That's it. And then step 2 is where you go a little bit deeper. Step 2 is where you go, okay, now that I know what those assumptions are, what's next? One of my absolute favorite quotes by Mark Twain, I think, summarizes what looking again is all about. And he says, it's not what you don't know that gets you into trouble. It's what you know for sure. Oh, no, I know for sure. That just isn't so. It's your certainty that actually gets in the way. Right at the beginning when we started the day, John spoke about the curse of the expert. It's that certainty that oftentimes does get in the way. And so when we look again, we move past that point and we go, what is it here that I am missing as a result of my overtrained mind that has seen things a good few times? So step number 2 is we challenge it. And if we think about this in a very practical sense, we can often think about how organizations think about their products, product development, for example, and cannibalization of existing product lines or services, or maybe even team members here and there, and how we think about our teams. And that's just one way of thinking about it. And I actually really liked it when Tim Cook said, if we don't cannibalize ourselves, someone else is going to. And I like to think of it as if we don't disrupt ourselves, somebody else is. I used to know someone who used to say, someone is going to come and eat your lunch. I don't like that because lunch is very precious to me, so I don't use that phrase. But that's exactly the idea. And a big part of looking again is what Catherine Schultz calls being okay with being wrong. And when we're wrong, we face the excruciating pain of letting go of that conviction that our ways of seeing, our ways of being, our ways of doing are the correct ones. And that's all it takes. So what does it look like to look again, and how can you practically apply it? Simply this. Amy Herman in her book, Visual Intelligence, says no 2 words are more dangerous than the words obviously and clearly, because nothing is ever obvious and nothing is ever clear. Let me prove that to you. Have a look at the picture you are about to see on your screen. And out loud, I did mention a little bit earlier on that I used to be a primary school teacher, so I love noise. In moderation, of course. So have a look at the picture, and then out loud, from what you see, where you are sitting in the room, what are the differences between square A and square B? Okay, color, thank you. Anything else you're picking up? That's what I heard. Position, thank you. Anything else? Okay, shadow, proximity to the cylinder. Anything else? Have a nice look. Really give yourself a chance here. Sorry. Placements, thank you. You used a bit of a technical term before I didn't really understand. Sorry? A is brighter than B, okay. Any others? Maybe size, all right, thank you very much. Shadow, one is in the shadow, thank you. All right, so we might be picking up a few different things, right? What would you say if I told you that square A and square B are the exact same color? Rubbish! Who said rubbish? I'm from KZN. No, I'm joking. So I love that you said that because it takes us right back to the point. Raise your hand if you would say, Zanele, cap. Not true. No ways. And you would go so far, thank you very much for those hands, as saying to me, how Zanele, it's obvious. It's right there. Hello, it's clear. Kutsatile. Okay? And then raise your hand for me if you would say, I don't see it, but it's possible. I might be missing something. Don't just raise your hand because you want to look cute during the presentation in front of everyone else. I see you. But here's the thing, guys. Thank you very much for the hands. Here's the thing. They actually are. They are the exact same color. And this is an optical illusion, a lot like what we've been seeing already today in this presentation. That's designed for you to see it that way. If you don't believe me, I'm going to share a QR code at the end where you can download this entire deck and use it the way you wish to do so. But I want you to go back home, office, wherever you're going after this. Go onto your photo editing app, remove everything else, and leave only square A and square B. And then once they are right next to each other with no other distractions, you will see they are the exact same color. Then what you're going to do is you're going to go over to LinkedIn, find me, send me a connection request and go, Zanele, you were right. Here's 10,000 rand. I'm joking. But if you offer it, I'm going to take it because I'm that kind of girl. But this is the point. It's obvious and it's clear. But at the end of the day, the reason why we look at anything again, guys, the reason why we look at anything again is because you and I are human and we will miss something. There is something that our 90% is not allowing us to see. And if you are going to sit in a position where the business is grown in 5 years, it's going to be because you are the person that has looked again. And when we look again, we ask ourselves this question: what am I not seeing? Who have I not spoken to? What have I not tried? What stone have I not turned over? What might I be missing with what I think I know and what I think I see? So step 1, step 2, step 1, step 2. Fantastic. And if you and I can just do that, then we become unlearners. And we become unlearners at a behavioral level. Because change management is not about a framework, it's about behavior. It's about being the kind of people that can let go when it's time and grab hold when it's time. Let me actually give you a nice example of that. I'm actually closing off on this note. I'd like you to stand up. I promise it's the very last time I'm going to make you stand before you start to hate me. So here's what we're going to do. Where you are sitting, hopefully you do have a few other humans around you. What you're going to do for me is you're going to put both of your arms out, just like this. Beautiful. On the right-hand side, if you do have access to both of your arms, of course, I don't want to be one of those individuals that isn't considerate. It's okay. You're going to put on your right-hand side, you're going to put your index finger up. Just like that, perfect. If you're confused, look at your neighbor, hope they're doing it right. Okay, and just copy them. So what you're going to do is you're going to turn that finger over and put it on the palm of the person next to you so you can slip back into that row. So there's going to be an open palm there. If there isn't, I do apologize. You were just badly positioned. All right. So when you're in that position, say yes. Say yes when you're ready. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. You have only got 2 jobs. Don't let me down. I trust you. 2 jobs. Job number 1, you need to remove your finger, and please wait for me to count you down. You need to remove your finger off of the person's palm before they close it. That's job number 1. Not yet. Ooh, that row. Guys, it's the end of the day. Where's all this energy coming from? And then on the other side is job number 2. You are going to need to close your palm before the other person takes their finger off. Say yes if that makes sense. Say yes if that makes sense. Fantastic. When I clap my hands, you are going to do both your jobs. When I clap my hands, you are going to do both your jobs. 3, 2, 1. All right, you may sit. Well done, well done. Really good stuff, guys. You may sit. Well done. Well done. Blink twice. Shh. Come back to me. Come back to me. Blink twice if you cheated. I'm just allowing the honesty. See, I'm being nice. Okay, thank you. If you blinked, thank you to those people. So this is the point. The better you and I can grab hold when something's new, when it's coming around the corner and we know it's going to serve us, be the person that jumps in, be the person that grabs it. But then when it doesn't work and it's not going to serve us and it doesn't align with where we're going, be the person who can let go. It's both of those things that really make this journey successful. So here's where I'm going to close it off. I did already have a conversation with one of our colleagues from ABSA. I promise I think once again I need to just declare here I don't have shares. I have a mortgage. I don't know if that counts, but anyway, here we go. Step one, step two, step one, step two. Every single opportunity is on the other side of that two-step process. So I'm going to ask you this question again, and slightly different this time. It's 5 years from today, 2030, and the business has actually tripled in size. And it just keeps getting better. And here's the big question. What are you just so glad that you self-disrupted? What are the patterns and conditionings you are glad you actually pushed back at, starting today? Thank you very much.